Hi, everyone. Today it is our pleasure to introduce the founder of Asset Map. Over 1 million people are using Asset Map with their advisors to gain financial clarity. Our guest has worked as an asset manager. He calls himself a recovering financial planner. He built a technology to help solve the problems he and many advisors deal with on a daily basis. Rob, he also hosts an exciting new podcast called Rethink. I want to welcome to the podcast, Adam. Adam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful to have you on, Adam. We were recently on a conference that Asset Map put on, I think with Riskalyze, and it was really spectacular. And like Rory said, we're huge fans. But just kind of kicking things off, could you tell the audience what got you to Asset Map? Kind of tell us how you started and got on this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again for having me, and I appreciate the accolade. It's been an interesting journey. I think for most of us who've been in the financial advice delivery, whether it's accounting, tax, legal, investment, it doesn't really matter. All of us have had this desire to help our clients figure out what's going on in their lives, give them good advice, bring some competence to the table, hopefully leave them better off than we found them. That's usually why they hire us. And so when I got into the business over 20 years ago, I came actually from an architecture background. I wanted to be an architect after school. So you imagine somehow I got sucked into the life insurance business, and I thought I was going to be a financial planner, right? But I found after a couple of years that financial planning really resonated with me. And I started generating these massive reports for people. I did this fantastic analysis. I spent 10 hours behind the computer trying to generate this stuff. And then I'd present them, and guess what happened? Clients glazed over. They're saying, what's the summary here? Can you just tell me are we going to be okay? So I had the executive summary, everything. And of course I used my graphic background and I started drawing it for them. And they said, after some time, I standardized the process because it became almost obsessive for me to just visualize what's going on in people's lives without judgment. Just here's the stuff. And, I remember one time I went to a client's house, brought my 100-page stack of Morningstar and e-money. And they said, you can take that home. I want your 1-pager drawing because I can take it back to my spouse. I can explain to her what we talked about today. And I know what we do. And I said, okay, fine. So you want the drawing. And that just went viral. So for our within our company, we have, just to give an idea, we have an asset management team on our group, financial planning, insurance placement, and we have legal tax counsel. And all of them basically use Asset Map collaboratively to understand what's going on in the family. And this thing drove our revenue. We tripled revenue year over year until finally we said, we got to share this with people. So Asset Map now it's true. It's become a thing. It's taken me out of the financial advice business full time into running a tech company for the last 5-6 years. So there you have
I love your journey. You went from Ned Ryerson Groundhog Day to a fintech founder. Adam, so speaking about journeys, I saw your explanation of what you guys had as far as the customer and advisor journey framework. Can you kind of tell our audience what that looks like, and then maybe some tips on how advisors can kind of think about crafting that client experience?
Yeah, that's actually interesting. Most of the stuff, as you just heard, was created out of necessity, right? My mother used to tell me that necessity is the mother of invention, right? You just got to fix it. I can't take it anymore. I'm just going to redo it, right? And rethink the darn thing. And I think, by the way, that's how most of the great innovation in this country has happened, right? We just try to make it better. I don't know that I was expecting to build a technology tool when we built Asset Map. I was trying to solve my own problem. It just turns out everybody has the same darn problem, which is, figuring out what people are dealing with on one page, that kind of financial x-ray, if you will. Just let's start there. We'll all figure out collaboratively how to help these people. But I think for the customer advisor journey, one of the biggest questions we got, Rory, was where should we fit all this darn tech together, right? I mean, one of the bigger challenges, as you can all relate to, is that there's so much tech availability. I can't even consume the tech I bought 4 years ago, let alone this year. Like my CRM is half-assed put together. My financial planning tool, I'm using 20% of it. The lead generation tools, we got enough business coming. So we all know and can relate to the fact that I use 2% of my iPhone's capability, right? And that's fine. That's good enough. But the more tech enabled we get, it's getting a little scary. So, and it's actually something you brought up too, Rob, because you guys are very aware of this and conscientious for your community to talk about how do you actually implement this tech. So what we did is we ran this survey. Survey took over a year. We actually surveyed advisors and clients of advisors. And we said, tell us what this journey is. From the point in time you first got introduced to the advisor to the time they got data from you and you met with them at their office, and then you did they gave you some guidance, and then they implemented something maybe, and then you did a review, right? And the funny thing about it is that all 500 of the people that participated in this, an open text survey, not with drop downs, when we culled all this information, we found that it was interesting. Almost all the advisors and customers explained the same exact journey. Okay, so we were able to break this down into 5 major milestones. What we then said is, well, give us the most painful part of that process. What is the most annoying? Like, I want to quit this job, or I don't want to work with this advisor anymore. And we took the top 2 where they overlapped. In other words, where the advisor and the customer complained about the same thing. And we said, okay, for these 10 items, 2 for each of the 5, those are the most investable pieces. That's where we should invest in technology to solve that pain point. You follow? Because the reality is there were 80 answers that kind of came up consistently. Give you an example. Here's one of them. One of the most annoying parts about the early interaction stage is just scheduling with a professional, right? And especially during the pandemic, a lot of advisors had a challenge, scheduling. How do I manage my calendars? The kind of growth of direct, automated, connected calendar scheduling has clearly seen massive explosion. Well, 3 years ago, when we did the survey, we said that is going to be the single best innovation to invest in. Okay. Why? Because we knew that was a pain point 3 years ago. Now it's exploded. Everybody has Calendly or HubSpot or Schedule Once or whatever they're using today. That's the idea here. And now what we did is, and you can go actually on our site, we made it free available to everybody. You go to assetmap.com/journey and you can download a worksheet. You could just do this on your own firm and just score yourself where you think you are on this 10 points.
It's amazing. And talking about that survey and the other pain points, what are some of the other main pain points that from the advisor side that you guys are solving? And then part B would be on the client side, other than the scheduling and some of the other things.
Well, it's true. Asset Map doesn't solve all 10 of those things. Well, of course, we influence them, and we've actually built roadmap around trying to solve them, because our customer, we know it's a testament to the fact that most of us are having these pain points. We should just solve the problem. The ones that for us that came up that were in the top 10 category was data collection, right? Most professionals, whether you're legal, tax, insurance, investment, you have to collect data from your clients at a high level, right? Tell me about the household. Who's in the household? Oh, do you have any companies? Do you own any entities, right? What kind of accounts do you have? What kind of income do you make? Like, what kind of style of income is that? Is it 1099, right? You can imagine this for, assets, liabilities, insurances, cash flows, right? We need to understand basically this. So we created a process that in a professional can send direct to consumer, or could actually take inbound from multiple lead gens and have them create an asset map entirely on their phone. So somebody could in 15 minutes literally complete a survey on their phone and build this whole thing. And then the professional would get a full visualization of all the stuff they have and all the people in their family instantly. Now, why is that valuable? Well, first of all, it compresses the cycle time to get to how do I deliver contextual advice to somebody? Right? Instead of it saying, give me a shoebox and come in on Friday, 4 weeks from now, and then I'll get back to you in a month. It's, are you going to be on your phone anytime soon? Yeah, probably like right now. Do this survey. It's in your email. You get it back in 15 minutes. Now I know whether it's even a good fit of a client, first of all, or whether I can delegate it, relate, et cetera, et cetera. So that was one of the big ones we've gotten a lot of accolade on recently, and we're seeing a lot of companies now try to chase this. This is one of our superpowers. There are plenty of others. I'd be curious what you guys are seeing in terms of the space. What are big pain points?
Yeah, no, you hit it right on the head. We just had Holista Plan on, and they can, through artificial intelligence, provide a deliverable that is beautiful for tax advice in 60 seconds by uploading a tax return. And so, for a lot of accountants that we work with, they have similar pain points that you just talked about. And for shifting to this more future-facing advisory model, which we think accountants are really poised to be fantastic at, they have the same pain point, and this data can be really helpful to them to give better advice. And the one thing that I think you guys do, which in the way that you do it, I think is very unique, but in a similar kind of aspect, is you can now get this deliverable visualization to give that advice easier than Excel, easier than Excel. So, we have a lot of accountants that we talk to who are still in the world that you talked about from where you came from, which is they have a lot of pride in the deliverables and the advice that they're being able to do. We are here to scream from the mountaintops that they do not need to do that. They do not need to hire. They do not need to do this, but that technology such as Asset Map can really give a beautiful, visualization. And one use case I'll give you to underline that is, given this year, there was a lot of mortality, obviously. There was estate planning type of laws that were going to be coming into effect, and tax changes that were potentially coming into effect. And advisors, be it CPAs, insurance, financial advisors, financial planners across the world, were given the question, what would this do to me, right? And a tool like Asset Map allows you to scenario build and visualize what some of these effects may be from estate planning, tax, asset location type of scenarios in a much user comprehensive type of way than what I think a lot of people were doing.
Yeah, and kind of piggyback off that, Adam, and I'd like you to maybe speak upon this. That you talked about on one of your interviews, and I loved it, the Netflix phenomenon of suggesting what might be best for the client. Instead of having the advisor tell the client, hey, you should do this, there's other peers or other people in your situation. This is what they're doing. Can you kind of talk to our audience about that?
Yeah, sure. What you're referring to is our Stencils platform. It's built into Asset Map. It kind of comes with all of them. The idea, though, Rory, was to try to, the Netflix analogy is that when we all go home and turn on any of those streaming services that we have, I don't know if Netflix is the best anymore, but certainly one of 5 that I think I have now. All of them do one thing in common. They all tell me, people like you watch this.
Yeah.
Now, what they're doing is they're being theoretically empathetic at an algorithmic level to say, listen, you watch the Avengers all the time, so you clearly want these other like killer movies too, right? So, and next thing you know, they're right. I do get sucked into most of them, by the way. It's unbelievable how well it works. Amazon does this too, by the way. I don't know if you know, when you go to checkout, they're like, listen, other schmucks like you bought this too. Do you want to buy this for twice the price? Sure, I think I'll buy that. Just keep stacking it in there. Now, the important part for us, though, in financial sales, which has been the kind of core of financial services for years, it's where we started. It's where the revenue model has been: AUM gathering, insurance placement, annuity, whatever it might be, even mortgage banking. This advice-led, those that want to position as an advice leader first. Granted, implementation has to happen at some place, right? As Michael Kitces says, the money has to land somewhere. Maybe I'm going to help you do that too. But the point is that we lead with advice. And why I bring this up is because sometimes it's difficult for us to talk about things without us feeling like we're selling. And so what we figured out is that we can overlay what people like you have done, and then I can see what they've done that you haven't done. As an example, people in this baby boomer population tend to have long-term care. I don't see it on your map. Is it missing, or you just forgot to tell me? Most of the response from a client standpoint is, well, actually, I didn't really understand it, know that you understood that at all. I didn't think it was relevant for my asset management, so I didn't include it. But no, I don't have it. Or my wife has it and I don't have it. And I don't have it. Why? I just didn't think it was. And then you get into an educational opportunity to say, listen, this is where it fits. This is why it might make sense. Do you want to pursue it? And takes us out of the sales mindset as opposed to the, people like, right, is Netflix selling me 5 more movies? Well, kind of, I guess they are.
Yeah. Speaking about education.
Me.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And speaking about education and engagement, we had Dr. Daniel Crosby, New York Times bestselling author, the chief behavioral officer at Orion, and he talked about the 3 E's: education, environment, and encouragement. With technology driving all this rapid change, Adam, what are ways that we as financial professionals in tech companies can help be drivers of healthy financial behavior?
It's an interesting question, Rory, about financial wellness. And I think there's a thing I want to touch on that Rob brought up before, which is technology is becoming ubiquitous for us. We are all going to be forced to adopt more technology. Sorry, that is the way it is. It's just more efficient. It's a better use of capital. But here's what it's supposed to do, everybody. It's supposed to free up more humanity time. The humanity time is where you and I deliver our most valuable and valued contribution to their lives. That means our clients' lives. By applying our intelligence, our competence, our credibility, our experience in real time to their lives. That's what they're buying. They're buying the fact that they need more confidence in making a complex decision that has a high cost of being wrong. And by using us, hopefully they're going to get a better outcome. The more that we can spend human time with them, giving them guidance, the better. If we keep applying more technology alone to their experience, they will replace us with a cheaper technology. Okay. That's just the way it's going to go. So in all cases, we want to use technology to support the human guidance part. So how does that answer financial wellness? Well, if we can find a way to literally just have a conversation around all the stuff you're doing today and the context and the things that matter to you all on one page, I get the opportunity to ask the best questions, which is, why did you choose to do this? Have you thought about doing this? Oh, I see that you actually have this extra company you forgot to tell me about. You didn't think it was relevant. Should we use that to create extra tax advantage? Or why don't we use a qualified plan inside of that? We should be doing a SEP here. You didn't tell me, wait, where's this K? Why is this K1 here? Oh, you have an interest in this. Can I use this? Now, all of a sudden, the revelation of the information to the expert who really needs that, it's literally transparent.
You see the matrix.
That's it. That is literally, that's what Asset Map was attempting to do for our experts, is just say, if I actually have all the facts, not just the facts they chose to give me. Okay. And boy, it didn't take me 9 years to get all these facts from statements that they basically don't have anymore. Then maybe I can actually give guidance and context. So we actually are finding that financial planning, I've been recently talking about financial planning is dead. Everybody's running to do financial planning. I'm like, no, that was like last year. Okay. Going forward, it's financial engagement. It's, can I have a conversation with you that promotes me being more present in your life and making better decisions? That is the key. And that's all what financial wellness is about. If you went to your doctor, it'd be the same thing. The difference is, going forward, I think we're going to get to a place where the doctor, instead of waiting for an annual review and telling my cholesterol is horrible, what if my advisor called me and said, listen, I'm looking at your thing, your cholesterol is horrible. I wasn't expecting that call, but here's what we need to do about it. So proactive guidance is the way that we actually play a bigger role in our clients' lives, whether it's tax or whether you're an investment advisor. It shouldn't matter. And the key for the long term is that we needed to create a framework that all of us can now collaborate on. So we're all looking at the same X-ray. And you all see different things than I see. And then we're going to build a team for clients. And I think that's how the financial advisor world lives and survives, to compete against the next version of Robo.
And that's an excellent segue into the next topic of kind of retention, current client retention. In the face of technological advances, a lot of our CPAs on here have had to face off versus free tax returns, TurboTax and things of that nature. So, could you maybe spend a second talking about how you guys have been able to affect client retention? And also, I think you've already talked a little bit about this, about how this is such a more efficient way for you to validate and attract new clients.
It's been interesting to see the impacts of solving a problem that we had and that other people have had, which is just, can I see the facts so that I can have an open conversation about how to give you good guidance, right? I didn't know that the consumers were going to be as coveting of the asset map as they wound up being. But it's usually because of contrast. Consumers are saying, I'm used to getting a whole bunch of stuff I don't understand. It goes in the shredder. I don't even open it. Every once in a blue moon, I want to know what my account's worth. I never check on my insurance, and I wait till once a year because my tax partner is going to tell me how much I owe, right? They're like not even paying attention to this. They wouldn't even think to have the tax person talk to the investment person. They wouldn't even think for the insurance agent to talk to their attorney because they just don't know any better. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that we've done such a horrible job, and we're used to it societally, of educating our consumers to this financial wellness point that people don't even know what questions to ask or why, unless you have serious wealth and you have an advocate or a kind of a larger, we'll call it a quarterback, who's basically saying, no, I'm bringing in the attorney, I'm bringing in my tax team, we're all going to get to sit around the table twice a year, and we're going to actually add value to your lives. You have a lot of money. That happens all the time. Everybody else is like, what should I buy? A mutual fund online? All right, let me go to Robinhood, buy some stock because I heard it's easy and cheap and I don't have to look like a fool because I really don't know what I'm doing. So it's better for me to just go to some of these direct tools and do something because, I'm getting nagged to do that. See what I'm saying? I think what's going to happen, fortunately or unfortunately, is that direct to consumer technology is going to continue to eat away at the wallet share of, we'll call them non-advice based advisors. Okay. So they're going to start eating the lunch of the direct outlets, mostly because it's easier and cheaper to just execute. But I think what's going to stand is the human's desire to continuously want confidence when it gets too big, right? When you're now all of a sudden making a decision about retirement, and you're wondering whether you should do long-term care, and you've got these old life insurance policies, and you think you're going to jump tax brackets because you're going to be forced in an RMD situation. Now, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, wow, Google can't answer this one. And my app is telling me that I should go talk to this 25-year-old who just graduated college at Vanguard. And I'm like, doesn't really understand where I am. And so I think there is going to be, there's still going to be a huge demand for advisors who can look holistically at a client and say, all right, I can solve multiple problems. And I already have a team embedded to help me. I got the investment team. I got my preferred tax team. I got those insurance guys covered, or we're going to appify that. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to be really attractive to consumers who have built some level of, we'll call it wealth. And I don't think that it's going to require having a $5 million net worth like it did in the past. I think we're talking about $500,000, $1 million and up, that people are going to have opportunity to deliver holistic advice, human style with tech enablement. That's where I think it's going.
I love it. I love it. Rob, you want to speak?
No, I that resonates so much with us. I started my career at Bear Stearns, which was ultra affluent type of stuff. And when we started Arrowroot back in 2013, we really were committed because we saw this technological revolution happening to say, with the efficiencies and scale of what's happening in the software world, we can provide value advice, human, empathetic, value advice to people regardless of their net worth. And we've always been very committed to that. And one obstacle that we run into with a lot of CPAs that we work with is that they too are capable of punching way above the weight of the advice that they're able to give today. And they already have the baked in knowledge base to do a lot of this stuff. They don't focus on A, charging for it, or B, figuring out a way that they can efficiently, with the bodies and the minds that they currently have sitting in the seats, make that into a much future-facing, scalable type of business. And our tagline for Wealth Management Forward is, don't fight the robots, partner up with them. And we're huge believers. There's technological advances throughout the history of humankind. And it's the people that have been able to better understand those technological advances to be of value, because there's still an enormous amount of population that has no idea how to use it or how to then be able to extrapolate and give the great advice holistically, at least today.
Yeah, I think that's important. And to kind of share with you, the bigger challenge that we've been talking about, at least on some of our podcasts that Derek and I are doing, is that advisors and professionals in general are really, really bad marketers.
Yeah.
And the apps today have $100 million behind them, and they know
Yeah.
how to connect.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the real problem. When you say, don't fight the robo advisor, work with them. I'm thinking, yeah, carry my bag, robo advisor, make it easier for me to use my hands, and I can, be more effective. But I think what's interesting about it is that the robo and those that are building the next levels of robo advice and robo execution and even robo tax planning,
Yep.
they see the fact that there is a high margin business where people are used to paying a significant amount of premium for giving advice. And they are going to be building tools that directly compete against you. The difference is that they're going to have a $10 million budget to let people know, and you've got no budget. Okay. So most advisors I know have no marketing budget. They wouldn't know how to start. And it's why it's really important that we start establishing our thought leadership, our subject matter expert role, either through ways of media, podcast, or through writing, or through context and PR. I think that's a missing piece for a lot of professionals. They're great. Like you said, they have the tools, the knowledge, the expertise, maybe even the entire bench to give awesome advice, but they will not get a shot because the consumer's attention span is going to just be absorbed by the next cool app. It's going to promise that they could do the same old thing, even though we all know they can't. They don't know what to ask for. And so they're going to capture the market share. And that's why it's really important that we start stepping up.
Yeah. Speaking of market share here, what do you guys have planned for Asset Map as far as your roadmap? Are you guys going to the metaverse? Are we going to have an Asset Map room that you'll be going into? And,
that's
and picture,
a cool idea. Well, let
picture
me
all the
write that
ads.
down. Let me add that to our
I'm not going to charge you for that one,
Thank you.
Adam.
That's hilarious. I've been really hard on the team to stay in the lane. I do not want to build the next financial planning behemoth that gets used 1% of the time by 20% of the population. That's not my interest. There's already out there that exists already. They're partners and they're friends of ours, and they're competitors and frenemies. But the reality is that we want to stay in our lane. What I want to focus mostly on client engagement. That means if it can't fit on one page, I don't want it. If I can't get it to one page, it's not for me. Even retirement planning. We've got retirement planning to one page, life insurance, one page. Balance sheet is a page, unless it's really big. Asset map, et cetera. So the idea is that you got to do what we call simple rich. So it's got to be really rich, but simplify it so that it's consumable. That's not easy, by the way. And it is easy to just scope creep and go build the next thing. But that being said, the biggest demand that we have right now is for a consumer experience. Can we put an asset map in the hand of our customers? Maybe not with interactivity, right? Because that could be a mess. Can we just actually put an asset map? And so one of our big hairy goals at the company is put an asset map on every fridge in the planet. That's our big goal. Literally to help every single household that wants to be able to map their entire financial life, if you will. That's their estate treasure map. They walk into their accountant or their tax provider advice, and they say, here's my life. What should I be doing better? Right? What do you not see? What do you see? What are other people like me doing? Walk in my investment advisor, I've got this. Maybe even collaborate entirely with those people with a digital framework so that we can really get the humanity applied to the facts as opposed to tech to the facts. And that's really what we're trying to build, is literally the next generation of a financial X-ray for the entire population. So that's a big vision. It's going to take steps, but our roadmap is all about delivering that eventually to collaborate advisors and consumers on the same page.
That is amazing. And I will say, I am absolutely confident you're going to be able to get there. It is such a wonderful solution. We really suggest any advisors or accountants or even individuals that are interested in seeing what a beautiful and thoughtful and simplified model of something that is enormously complex can be used in their life be it advisory or themselves. We'd totally love to, tell everyone to be able to do that. Adam, I want to thank you very much for coming on. Congratulations on all of the success. Thank you for the support that you give to us and to our clients and to our business and those that we work with. We'll list, contact details, your podcast stuff, all of that on the end that people can be able to get on there. But really want to say thank you for joining us today. And we hope to have you on one of our future fireside chats with some of your frenemies even.
They're all friends.
It's all for the benefit of clients and people, but really thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. Thank you both of you, Rory and Rob, and everyone at Arrowroot, and of course the whole community for taking the time to spend time with us today. I appreciate it. Let us know how we can support you. And of course, thanks again. Have a great day.
Thanks, Adam.